Welcome
to the Yes Anthem podcast with your hosts, Kat London
and Rich Aveo.
What's the Yes Anthem?
The Yes Anthem is the inner desire to find the beautiful things in life.
If everyone sang their Yes Anthem out loud, we'd all sing in harmony.
The Yes Anthem wishes you the courage to like what you like,
choose what you want,
and trust what you love.
Enjoy the episode.
Yes.
Happy Halloween, Rich.
Happy Halloween.
Aw, what a day.
I know.
We were just talking about licking our hands and patting them on people's hair because I had a...
Licking smudges off people's faces.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore. You know?
I would wager that you can. Because I was talking about in a musical theater environment how we would, if there was a hair that was astray in the wind like this,
Especially with wigs,
I'd
right?
be like, spit on your hands, do
Yeah.
this and do this.
Yeah, just get it down. So
Get
I
it
can
down,
on
get
stage.
it down.
I guess on stage anything goes, right?
Whatever.
You just have to.
I got hit in the face with what is it called? A pickaxe.
I'm glad
once.
you went there because I heard "puh" and I'm like, I don't want to know the rest. A pickaxe. Was it real?
Yeah, it was a real pickaxe.
Sharp or was it dulled? I guess it doesn't matter. You still can kill somebody with it.
I got scathed by, is that the right word? Like skimmerooed by it. In the tooth. That was the best part. Actually, I have one dead tooth. I wonder if it was dead. They've been telling me it's been a softball this whole time. You know, playing shortstop and third base and pitcher my whole softball career.
You are very athletic.
That was probably one of my worst sports.
Why do you suppose they have to tell you it was a softball?
Because every time I go to the dentist, they're like, did you ever have trauma to the tooth? And I said, I imagine so. And then, my parents always were like, I don't know, maybe you got like whacked with a softball. Whacked with a softball, definitely a phrase we throw around in the house. I've been whacked with my own tennis racket before. Yeah. I was way more of a tennis person.
And a pickaxe.
And a pickaxe. So musical theater and sports, same thing.
Mm-hmm. So if anyone ever asks, like, have you ever been in a fight? You can be like, not really, but I've been assaulted a few times with deadly weapons.
On the upstroke of a pendulum swing of a pickaxe that we were tap dancing on.
Jesus.
It was crazy for you? Yeah, I think it was crazy. No. Yeah, it must have been crazy for you.
That's singing? Madonna, Crazy for You. Not the show, Crazy for You.
I'm crazy, crazy for you. Crazy for you. What other sexy things does she say?
In that song, does
I'm
she?
Insane. Yeah. No, she just.
Oh, in general, yeah, she definitely.
Bring up the lyrics, Ming.
Yeah, she definitely. Says a lot of like odd
I've
things.
been hit by a pickaxe. Oh, okay. Swaying room as the music starts. Strangers making the most of the dark. Two by two, their bodies become one.
Oh, as sung by Miley Cyrus. Good.
Wow, rude. You should hear my Madonna though.
The when thing wasn't in at that era of music.
When
That's a new thing.
What?
One. Yeah, like modern singers do that.
One. Oh yeah, she was more tall.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
One.
there was different influence with like affects
That's a
and
sexy
music.
song. Yeah.
Crazy for You is a great tune.
So anyway, Crazy for You the musical.
Got it.
I'm pretty sure that's.
So Madonna didn't slap you with a pickaxe.
I think it was correct. I think it was a. She did though. She had my heart at a young age because I had a cassette that I would affix to my waistband.
Ooh.
And I'd put the extraordinarily breakable headphones on as a
with
kid.
the thin metal,
Very thin yes,
aluminum
yeah.
band.
It might as well have been tinfoil.
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
Definitely cruising with aliens
That's so
in
funny.
that time, but it was that
foam on the earpieces.
Oh, most certainly.
Right? Yeah.
Which, because I was doing calisthenics during it, disintegrated.
Oh, because they sweat on them?
Because this was me. Watch me. This was me in the mirror to Madonna and Cyndi Lauper.
Okay.
Just a lot of like drama, a lot of acting. Like every single time I would act out. Was it the Act of Contrition, that album? The Madonna album?
Was that the name of it?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Or the two sides were named something. I don't know. Some Madonna album with the oh my God, what is that song? Oh, Like a Prayer. That album.
I don't actually.
Every time I sang that album like to myself in my full length mirror in my room, it would be like a different narrative every single time.
Here we go.
See, and I didn't have this album, which was the Crazy for You album. What was it? John Jellybean Benitez.
John Bettis. Okay, we're gonna just work on a little bit of literacy today,
guys. Look at.
Wait a minute. That was on the soundtrack of the film Vision Quest in 1985.
What the hell movie is that?
The Immaculate Collection, was that the name of
Oh,
the
the
thing?
Immaculate Collection.
Yeah.
There, yes. That's what it was.
The Act of Contrition was an actual prayer. It was on Madonna's hit album, Our
Bible.
Father. Yeah, Leviticus. Oh my God. Madonna to the Corinthians.
Madonna
In a letter from Madonna to the Corinthians.
Oh man, yeah. Someone mispronounced it. We were at a wedding the other day, and someone definitely said it wrong. I don't know if
Corinthians?
Maybe it wasn't Corinthians. It was another one. It's a word that is hard to say.
Yeah.
In that said piece of literature.
Yeah.
And I remember you and I looked at each other, or Paul and I looked at each other.
It was us. We were like,
I was like,
that's not it.
That was not
That's
it.
not it.
All right. Well, speaking of childhood, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween
today.
We had a lovely Halloween celebration over the weekend.
We sure did.
Yeah, it was really fun. We had some cool costumes.
We were What We Do in the Shadows characters. Yeah. I was a somewhat poor excuse for Nadja, but I did my best.
It was good.
But it paled in comparison to the Guillermo. Gizmo.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters, and I was
adorable.
Every once in a while, I'll get real passionate about a costume.
You've been talking about this for quite some time.
I want to be him for Halloween this year. Because he
kind
of looks like me a little bit. We kind of look like each other a little bit.
You look exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
Wild and crazy guys with that.
So it was a nice Halloween. But I have a question for you concerning Halloween.
Oh, good.
What's your favorite Halloween story that you've experienced? What
Nightmare
stands
Before
out?
Christmas.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What's your favorite?
You're talking about personally?
Yeah. What's your favorite story regarding Halloween from your life?
My family and friends who listen to this podcast will be like, "She forgot to say this time." I'm going to forget everything.
But we're talking about your favorite. So
well, this is barring I remember anything. If anything is even memorable.
Well, whatever comes
enough.
to mind.
There's so many memorable moments.
Yeah.
Well, a few things come to mind. What comes to mind always is that I was so fortunate that my mom was a really great seams person. Mm-hmm. They used to be called seamstress in the day.
Right.
Seams person. Mm-hmm. And Kelly and I would have our costumes made the majority of the time, unless we were like dead set on the Grim Reaper, and then my mom and dad were just freaking buy the freaking costume and the stupid mask, and I'm like, okay,
Did she make them from scratch?
Oh,
like
yeah.
the fabric?
We
Wow.
went to Joann's Fabric or
Joanne
Fabrics.
Joanne Fabrics.
Joanne Fabrics, yes.
Yeah, I remember that place.
Lived there.
Wow.
I love the smell of Joanne Fabrics.
Yo, me too.
Great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This is why we're in love.
There you go.
Oh my.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Anyway, but go ahead. I don't want to cut your story.
No. Let's talk about, because Joanne Fabrics, I think, has a lot of secrets about my family.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think it gets absorbed in the fabrics, and that's why it's just such a family outing. It's because it has everybody's lovey love stories.
I don't know why
in the atmosphere.
I'm trying to think about why I know there was a Joanne Fabrics in town where I grew up, but there was also like a local fabric store which was pretty large.
Was it a factory? Was it part
like
of
a warehouse,
like Port Newark?
Yeah, no, it was legitimate. It was a legitimate like fabric supplier. big store.
Well, it makes sense right
it was
there,
it was
right?
just like a Joann Fabric.
That's where everything comes. Oh, but much larger.
Not
suppose.
larger, but it was like, I'm just saying, like, for you've seen the street I grew up on, so like it was literally like a block away.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah, and
Really?
but yeah, I'm just trying to think about why we were in that fabric store so often as a kid, because like my mom is, no offense, mom, but she's not she's just not known for her.
Her seems personness.
Oh man. God, I don't want to go off on a tangent
No,
on how poorly she hemmed my pants growing up.
Oh!
But
For what event? Was this an important event?
yeah, life.
Was it for the act of contrition?
Growing up an overweight kid with really short, genetic short legs.
Perfect.
Oftentimes you have to buy pants that are like,
Meant for men.
yeah, you have to buy like
Yeah.
larger waist size, which come organically with a longer inseam.
Indeed.
And my inseam is about as long as this mic stand. So my pants were often hemmed, lest I look like the genie from Aladdin. But my mom would often have to hem my pants once in a while, you know, like if I had a pair of like trousers or
She
khakis
should
or
have
something.
asked Joanne to do it.
Oh God, she used to hem my
Joann
jeans
Fabrics.
from time to time. But like, this is the sign. This is the sign of a short fat kid right here
Oh,
that
my
I had
God.
to live with. This is the curse of a short, chubby boy.
Oh, this sounds like a movie.
The bottoms of your jeans have like a nice cuff, right? Like when you buy them.
You're talking about just jeans in general?
Yeah, you know,
All
a
right.
pair of
Yeah.
jeans. Yeah. The bottom of a pair of jeans when you buy them
guys named Gene.
have a I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
It might be a cuff. I don't know.
I think
but
it's called a smoosh.
yeah, the very bottom
Very
of it,
bottom
and it's a
smoosh.
very like it looks real, right? Like it looks like you're
Real?
like, well, that looks like it came from Levi. Levi Strauss did that.
Levi Strauss.
My
my
jeans,
favorite composer.
My jeans always looked like I just tucked them under,
Mm.
and that was it.
Under.
Yeah, under. Well, she would hem them.
Oh, you freaking did it under.
I didn't do anything.
Gotta
I'm
do
talking
it.
about my
Like,
mom.
You didn't even cigarette cuff that shit.
I'm telling you the story about how my mom used to have to hem my jeans,
my God.
cut them, and then sew them. So she did not replenish.
Was it like that?
No, they were straight, but they just looked. They didn't have that.
That nice.
They didn't
yeah,
have
yeah,
the
yeah.
nice this.
Yeah,
stitching.
it looks nice.
And then I remember telling her, I'm like, Mom, like these don't look like real jeans. Like
right.
they just look like they're folded under. Can you? And she's like, oh, well, you want like the again? I don't know the name of these part. I'm not a good
Yeah, you're batting
seamster.
1,000.
But
a seamster.
I'm more of a teamster than a seamster. I'm like, can you put like the stitching
Yeah.
on the bun? She's like, yeah.
Sure.
Oh man,
Oh,
dude.
No. No.
Oh my God. It was like this far off the bottom of the pant.
But did she get a trophy for participation?
If that trophy was being abused in school, then yeah, she got that.
Wow.
You know? Nice jeans, you know, like it's
Nice
just
jeans, kid. Yeah.
you know. Thankfully, I think one of the benefits of growing up in the 90s was like baggy jeans became a thing. So like I
Yeah.
could go ahead and buy bigger
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
pants and not have to worry about how they would bunch at the bottom because
Right.
that was kind of in.
Right.
So thankfully, I kind of eased into the environment and didn't have to have like perfectly hemmed pants.
Isn't it funny how like if you like school is rude. Kids at school are rude.
Oh, they're the
but
worst.
You get made fun of for someone else's mistakes.
Yeah.
You can't
yeah.
just be like, it was my mom, guys, and then they all go, oh, did you hear? It was Rich's mom
Yeah,
who
nice
made the
mom,
mistake.
dude.
Nice mom.
Now they're making fun of your mom. You know. Anyway, tell me more about your favorite Halloween
So
story.
Joann Fabrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so I can't, and we are entering the season of gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
even though every moment in life is a season for gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we are encroaching on the giving of thanks,
Mm-hmm.
the thanks of giving. And I often, when someone says like Halloween, I'm like, it's just all the costumes that my mom made for me, and
Nice.
I loved like having the fabric draped over me. She was costuming me before I even hit my musical theater stride.
Priming you.
She was priming me. And I don't know. I'm just so happy. I was a flamenco dancer one year. I was Morticia Adams one year, which I remember my mom was like, so this fabric, it was velvet. Oh, actually, no. I forget what fabric was giving her a lot of trouble. I think all different
Velour.
fabrics. Right. My velour outfit as Morticia Adams. It was a jumpsuit.
Terry cloth.
But there was even I was like a fairy one year with like these beautiful wings, but she made me a princess outfit.
Nice.
And that was almost like a tulle fabric. Forget about sewing that shit.
Yeah.
That shit's real hard to sew.
That's very impressive.
And you know what's wild is back, I guess it was the 90s, not the 90s, but like the early 2000s when I was in home economics, which I don't think is a thing anymore.
Which it should be.
Perhaps. Yeah, you kind of rocked home ec, right?
No, well, we weren't allowed. Boys weren't allowed to take home
See,
ec
and you
in
were
the 90s.
you were a decade prior to me
Yeah.
entering into home ec.
Yeah.
Boys were definitely taking home ec with us, and they were nailing it because
it's
we're
a good
people.
skill.
Everybody nails everything.
I wish I knew how to sew.
Nailing it. Yeah. And I did know how to sew like a pillow for a hot minute. I knew how to knit. And then all of a sudden I was just like, I don't know. I like tennis and musical theater.
That's fine.
And it was fine. But like a good memory I had, well, I did start to make my own costumes. I'm sure my sister's like, don't forget this one and this one. But Edward Scissorhands was like the first one that is so memorable to me. And I recycled that costume many a time. We went to Salem, Massachusetts with my cousins,
crushed
Vicky
that
and
costume.
Frankie and Catherine and Maria. Thank you. And I acted the whole thing. People were like, I remember one time trick-or-treating with it. And one little kid was like, one question, are you a girl or a boy? And I was like, neither, because Edward Scissorhands is like Edward. Like,
Yeah.
who knows what he is?
Yeah,
Or
it's a creation.
it is. He's
It's
an
just
alien.
a being.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was so cool to be that. And he's just so adorable. I love me a Tim Burton character.
Yeah, he's
So
great.
it was so
Edward
cool to
Scissorhands
be
is cool.
like my favorite character. I was Sally one year. You were Jack. Like
Yeah.
that. Just so many good memories like that. One trauma memory I have.
Here we go.
From
I want it.
and then I can ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
One trauma memory from Halloween. I was with my friend Jetty. We went to a parade. I don't know if it was in one of our towns in Jersey, and our parents were with us. But I guess they weren't with us for like maybe like a hot second. I think we were 8 or 9. No, maybe 9, 10.
Okay.
I was the Grim Reaper, so I had the cloak. I had the
Store-bought
sickle.
costume.
Store-bought, yes, yeah. And I was an alien one year too.
Nice.
Also a store-bought costume. I didn't even know what Scream was, but apparently it was the Scream mask that I had on. So
Was it, like,
and everybody
super
was like, "Are
aiming?
you Scream?" And I'm like, "I don't know what that is. I'm
just
too
like
young
the
for that." I was
mask.
just like, "No, I'm a skeleton." Like,
Yeah, you just
what-
like the mask.
asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the Grim Reaper.
Right.
And I had my thing. And then we were marching in the parade, and a much older gentleman with very great makeup painted on his face and a very real, is it a sickle or a scythe?
A scythe, yeah.
A scythe, okay. A very real, huge one came up to me from, I don't know, maybe 20 feet away, dragging the blade toward me on the ground. And I'm a kid, so I'm already closer to this blade than I need to be.
Yeah.
Dragging it, getting louder. And I'm like, oh my God, he's coming near me. And he goes right up to my face like this. And like keels off the other way.
And that's where the dead tooth started.
And then my tooth died.
Yeah. Scared it. Yeah. These dentists have been wrong. It's not been blunt force trauma. It just
It was
scared the life
not
out of
a
my tooth.
pickaxe. It was the scythe. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it
I think
right.
it's scythe.
It's a scythe?
scythe.
The?
I think so.
Like a the?
Yeah, I think
The
it's
scythe?
SCYTHE, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. What's a sickle? It's the same
Pretty
shit.
similar, but I think
Yeah.
it's smaller.
Oh, yeah. It's like that
yeah.
thing. Or
I
that's
think,
a scythe.
I think a sickle is what's on like a Russian flag. If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
yeah.
It's like a small, it's like a handle
Right.
like this, and then like a whoosh thingy.
Well, this was for reaping, reaping,
like a
reaping
farming tool,
souls.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
You-
right.
you,
it's
like,
this.
plow,
And
like,
so that's what
or
his
whatever.
was. He obviously either created it or it was real.
Maybe got it at a farming store.
or he got
something.
a farming store.
Yeah.
Yeah. The active
Here we go. Yeah, that's a sickle. That's like the,
okay,
the
that's
Russian
a sickle.
flag.
All right, got it.
The
And,
hammer and sickle.
right. So this was definitely a scythe.
Yeah.
Scythe.
A scythe has like
scythe.
the big handle coming
And
off
that's
the
how he
side
came
of it.
at me with,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was definitely ready to reap some
Yeah, there it
children.
is.
There we are. Hey now.
Yeah,
oh no,
that's-
Grim Reaper sickle. Whatever.
No,
Oh, then it's a okay.
it's a scythe. with the handle on the end of it.
Goodness great. And it looked wicked.
Yeah.
So that was my trauma. What's
Those
yours?
are scary, man.
Yeah.
That is scary. Especially, he probably didn't realize how young you were. Completely masked up.
Wait a second. I was short as hell. He was an adult. He knew how young I was.
Okay.
I was certainly not in high school. High school, you've reached your height, your peak.
So he was flexing on you?
He was
flexing his
Reaper to
grown-up-
Reaper.
Yeah.
He was like, that costume store-bought. Also, that's the Scream mask. That's not even a Grim Reaper mask.
Yes, kids got it
And I
all
was
wrong.
like, I don't get it. I wasn't even allowed to watch PG-13 movies when I was 13.
Scare the tooth off this kid.
I scared the tooth right off. Any Halloween memoirs?
Oh man, so
For you, you've got some, don't
I'll
you?
let you know real quick. I'm just going to preface this by saying two things. Number one, my father was Puerto Rican. Number two, I grew up in Newark.
Halloween was born in Puerto Rico, right?
Maybe, yeah. The H is silent.
Halloween.
Here's the thing about Newark, New Jersey in the 80s and 90s for Halloween.
Goodness gracious.
It was fun. It was all good fun for a short while.
And then it became 10 p.m. and I...
Well, no, not 10 p.m. I'm talking about like as the years go on.
Oh.
It was all fun. It was all good fun for a short while, and then it got dangerous. Like after a certain time, like gangs would start like doing crazy things.
Whoa.
Like Mischief Night was like
Awful.
really bad.
Yeah, I
like
think
kids
we
were
all
like
had a
filling like eggs with bleach.
Yo.
And throwing them at people. They would like stuff razor blades in apples and then
Freaking Peaky Blinders shit.
Yeah, it was like it got crazy. So like, we always used to go out earlier, and then when the sun started to set, we would head back home. And we would stay. But that's not to say that Halloween wasn't awesome.
Sweet
it was always
home,
great.
Alabama.
Some of these things might have been urban legends too. Like I don't know. I've never seen these things
right.
happen,
They
but
were-
like stories.
It was probably just an excuse to get your ass in bed. Like,
Yeah.
you have school tomorrow.
Yeah, it was probably like the Newark police going like, let's get these kids home.
The gangs are out.
But those are not my trauma. That my I'm going to tell you the story.
The gangs of Newark are not his trauma.
Oh yeah, no, that's got nothing on my dad. I'm going to tell you this story. So
Walk me through it.
I don't remember how old I was. I really don't. First of all, based on where I was living, and based on how my memory of the perspective of
Yeah.
the room
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I was probably 6.
That's very young,
Yeah.
Rich.
So
That's like, you're not even a person. I
Yeah.
think legally, you're not a person yet.
earlier in the year, my father, as he was known to do, showed up with a couple of random animals. And these animals were chicks. They were little baby chicks.
Little chickens.
Little baby
Little
chicks.
baby
And they
chickens.
were adorable, and I would play with them.
On
And
Halloween, he showed up with these?
earlier in the year.
Oh, earlier. Sorry.
Earlier in the year, he showed up with some baby chicks, and these chicks grew,
Yes.
and we kind of kept them as.
Did they eat tostones?
I don't know. I don't know if we ever fed the chickens like food. I don't know how it worked. What I do remember is they grew up like essentially in like a small pen
Yeah.
inside our apartment.
What?
You can't just keep
You
chickens.
have a backyard.
Yeah, but they would have called the cops on us. You can't just like keep
What do you-
chickens in North.
Yes, they can.
Nah.
We've been looking at houses lately, and there's freaking chickens wherever we're looking.
That's in the rural suburbs. This is Newark, New Jersey. You're not. If you got chickens in your backyard, someone's calling the cops on you.
If you have chickens in your backyard, you are from Newark, New Jersey.
No, it's not.
Really?
No. I don't think that flies. I don't know. I don't think you're allowed to. You like that? I don't think you're allowed to
Snaps.
have like farm animals on your property.
about a
in Newark.
cow?
Maybe a cow.
Yeah.
All right. So, at the risk of this story getting really, really long,
No, make it long. Joanne Fabrics went on forever.
as the months went on, these chickens and these became my
you little
my
pals.
pets.
Oh.
So one was named Daffy
Shut up.
and one was named Stupor Duck.
Is that because of a speech impediment you had?
No, it's because in Daffy Duck's Fantastic Island, which was a Looney Tunes special that came out,
Great.
Daffy Duck, one of the vignettes was Daffy Duck, a superhero. And he was Stupor Duck. He was like Clark Trent, a.k.a. Clark Kent.
Oh, yes, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So anyway, one was Stupor Duck. Here we go. There he is.
Oh,
There's Stupor Duck.
yeah.
Love it.
Stupor Duck. Stupor Duck.
Exactly.
They're good.
Oh, I remember the little water cooler thing when he's like listening to the commissioner like talk in the other room, and the water just like fills the whole room.
Those scenes always gave me a panic because I was never one for wasted water.
Jesus.
I'm okay with drowning, but I'm not okay with wasted water for sure.
Even if it's animated.
Oh, especially because that's when things would flood the most, is when it was animated.
Remember the Tom and Jerry episodes when they would flood the kitchen and then freeze it and then ice skate on it? Oh, that was like my favorite episode ever.
I do remember that, but I hate Tom and Jerry.
Oh, it was...
Hate.
Really? Tom and Jerry's amazing.
When we met.
Oh, there it is. Oh my God. That was like one of my favorite things, man. Oh,
I think my sister
so
would even
good.
say, like, we're just not fans.
so good. But anyway, all right, so I loved it. I love that episode so much.
You love Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, well,
It was one of the things we disagreed on when we met.
well, Chuck Jones did some of the animation for that, and I love Chuck Jones. And then he also did some of the animations for Looney Tunes as well.
Right.
And the compositions. It was all the Carl Stalling did the composition for
Totally.
Looney Tunes, which is like one of my
Your obsession makes
yeah,
all the sense.
it's like
to
one of
me.
my greatest inspirations
Yeah,
was Carl Stalling, and I think maybe Carl Stalling did some for Tom and Jerry, but I forget.
I
who.
like the Grinch.
That was Chuck Jones too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry though, it was just I don't know. It was aggressive. I was more of
It
a
was.
beep beep. Who's that?
That was super aggressive.
No, that's
Roadrunner?
great though.
Okay. I get it. No, I do get it.
Yeah.
Tom was mean.
He was.
The
I
coyote
hate
was starving.
When cartoons cried. Oh, I'm getting emotional right now.
Yeah.
Do you hear me cry?
Yes, I do.
I don't like when animals are sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
My favorite Tom and Jerry episodes were episodes where they got along.
Yeah.
Like I did. I will say that I.
You're just saying that.
No, I honest to God, I did. That's true. I loved when they would like ally. All right, so we had Daffy and Stupid Duck were my two chickens.
Oh.
And as the months went on, I don't know how long it takes for a chick to grow into a legitimate chicken, but we're here at Halloween now, and damn if I remember what I was that year, because the trauma of this event.
Literally erased your.
We went out trick or treating.
Yeah.
And we're walking around the whole
Who's
neighborhood.
we?
It would usually be me, my mom, Aunt Barb, and maybe like some cousins, and yeah, it'd probably be like 4 or 5 of us.
It's good. It's a good
Yeah,
group.
yeah.
Good
it
search
was,
party.
no, it was fun, and it was always like funny, like we always enjoyed seeing all the other kids and like.
Did the adults dress?
It would be simple stuff like Minnie Mouse
I was
ears
gonna
or
say
like a
cute
button
headband.
nose and like
Yeah.
whiskers or something. It was like little things like that, but
Yeah.
nothing crazy. They would just walk and smoke cigarettes. And yeah.
I think what's funniest about you saying things like that is the demeanor in which you deliver it, because I see little Rich just being over it.
Yeah, it's like
So many, you were over things not but the age of 6.
I
so
was
over
already
everything.
driven to my breaking point by the time I was like 7. It was just like but nonetheless, it was always nice being with them. It was always funny. We would always laugh a lot together. I was
Yeah.
always in the adult conversations as a little kid. So we go out trick-or-treating. If I remember correctly, it was quite a nice outing. I scored pretty big on the candy.
Oh, must have been good weather.
It was good
Yeah.
weather. And I'll tell you why I know it was good weather. Because I distinctly remember coming home to our apartment, and we lived in an apartment on the second floor, upstairs from my pediatrician, which was
All great stories.
great because at night, after 6 p.m.,
0.
no one lived downstairs.
Yeah, that's
I could
solid.
play in my room. I
Yeah.
could do whatever I wanted, and it was never like, keep it down,
Yeah.
the neighbors.
You couldn't pay me to live above a bar that opened till 2 in the morning.
Oh, God, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be brutal, right? So we come
were
home.
lucky, yeah.
We had a really cool spiral staircase to
I've
get up to our
always
apartment.
wanted one of those as a
it's
kid.
not all it's cracked up to be.
I can imagine. But
Yeah, carrying things up and
prone
down
to
was always
injury.
just like
Yeah.
the worst. We had to carry like something big. It was
Well,
just
yeah,
like, jeez.
if it's one of the main veins to your
It was
destination.
it was the only staircase.
really?
Yeah, it was
Yikes.
the only staircase.
Yeah.
It was in the back. You had to go back behind the house.
Give me
and
an
come in from
elevator.
the back. Yeah, it was brutal. Nonetheless, cool.
Yes.
But anyway, I remember distinctly.
Oh boy.
We're coming up the spiral staircase, and I hear like music playing in the house, and I'm like,
Is that unusual?
yeah. I would say yeah, especially like after Halloween. You know, like it was a weekend too.
No music after Halloween.
No, I'm just saying, like, typically speaking, like my dad would either be like watching Jeopardy or the Yankee, you know, whatever, and or you know, not home, you know, like doing whatever he was doing for the day or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't late, so it was just kind of like, and it wasn't early, so it was just kind of like, oh, like Dad's home, like playing music, like in the kitchen. What? You know what I mean? It was just like something was
whistle while you work.
It was very ominous.
Oh.
So I'm like, why is like freaking Tito Rojas playing in the kitchen right now?
Nice. This paints the picture.
So we're coming up the stairs. I'm like, okay, Dad's home. Cool. Open up the door, and my mom lets out what I can only describe as a cigarette smoker's scream.
Oh my God.
Scares the shit out of me because probably, again, I'm probably 6 or 7. I'm terrified.
Oh man.
And my mom is screaming, and she slams the door shut. But before she does, I catch a glimpse of my kitchen.
No.
And it is covered in feathers and blood.
Oh my God.
So the door closes, boom, she grabs my face like this, she runs me back down the spiral staircase, and we go to Grandma's house.
Go to Grandma's house.
And I just remember my mom being on the phone going...
On the phone?
Calling him from Grandma's going, it's clean by the time we get home.
No!
So my dad winds up... My dad...
I'm lightheaded.
Every
Holy
once in a
crap.
blue, my dad would try to do something nice for us. And what he did was kill my pets to try to make a fresh chicken soup for us.
Stupid.
For when we came back from trick-or-treating, we would have like a fresh chicken soup. Like
Are you freaking kidding me?
A real treat from the farm.
Your dad grew up on a farm.
Yeah, so botched beyond belief.
No.
Couldn't handle it.
No.
My dad is very queasy. My dad is very he was way more sensitive to this than he thought he was.
Oh,
and he decided to pull the plug on this, but the chickens were nonetheless dead. Couldn't see the soup through. Also probably couldn't catch one of the chickens once he killed it, and it were feathers everywhere. So he wound up burying the chicken carcasses in our backyard on Halloween night.
Oh my God.
And then having to wash all the walls before we got home and clean up all the feathers.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that was my standout Halloween story.
It's delicate. It's atrocious.
And nonetheless, I still love Halloween. You would think I would swear it off for good. You would think I'd be like, that's it. This Halloween equals death. I want nothing to do with it. My parents probably almost got divorced over it. Like,
right.
I don't want anything to do with this holiday anymore. But nonetheless, I still quite love Halloween.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Was there a proper ceremony in the backyard?
Absolutely not. My father probably was
he
cursing.
buried them. He could have just thrown them in the trash.
No, I think that would have been mean. I think.
Well, of course, that's what I mean. Like, this actually is a testament to how sensitive your dad was.
Yeah, my dad was very sensitive with people and animals, and like he did.
You had a million animals growing up, right?
Yeah, we had a bunch of different pets. We always had the same dogs growing up. Like, those dogs lived for probably 15 years. Mm-hmm. Except for one. One died a little bit on the young side.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we had dogs. We had some birds.
Oh my God.
We had chickens.
You had chickens.
Yeah, well, those chickens were sacrificed on Halloween.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like El Dorado.
Yeah, like frickin' Machu Picchu. But yeah.
Was the house ever the same after that? Did your father ever cook a meal for you ever again?
That's a great question. Cook a meal? I'm going to say no. I don't think my father ever cooked anything for anyone, including himself.
He was gonna, though.
He was going to try.
And then
he thought it was going to be really nice. You know? Certainly not understanding the implication that they allowed me to play with these things for months.
Yeah, that is not okay.
It just wasn't a thought.
Well, no, actually, you know what? That's not a very That's not a very spiritual way of thinking. Back then, yes, it's like shield the kid from this or whatever. But I think, like, I don't know, based on some of the things that I've read, like kids who grow up on farms, they do have a relationship with the animal.
Sure,
and
yeah.
if they are going to eat the animal, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't want to talk on things I don't know about because I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say to Marco the other day? When I'm excited, I get angry.
Yeah.
He goes, I've never related to you more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate.
But yeah, I think, not everybody, but I do think some people are like just be grateful for the energy exchange, I suppose. I don't know how much of an exchange it is, but if a grass-fed animal better than feeding the animal other animals, perhaps.
Yeah.
Kind of idea.
Raise the animal not in a suffering way.
Yeah, not in
and then,
yeah, exactly.
If you wind up eating the animal, it's
Sure.
almost like an energy exchange. It's
right. I think I've read a few things about that with farming, and I can't wrap my head around.
I definitely think
I'm
ethical
grateful
farming is the way to go.
And I'm very grateful for that because I get to arrive at a store and give my energy exchange via my currency and grab that food, and I'm like getting in the Thanksgiving spirit already.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole idea behind it is it's not necessarily about the way in which the animal dies, but it's the way in which the animal lives. So, like, if you're gonna,
you are making me cry today. Something
people,
good.
there's hunters and there's, it's nature. I mean, in nature, animals eat one another for energy.
That energy, that's gorgeous.
But if you're raising a chicken in like a coop that it can't move, or things like that, like, it's not. I'm not with that too much.
Yeah.
If I knew that the chicken had I don't know, I guess an okay life. Like I think I'm more okay with knowing that even though it was kind of being raised for food, at the very least, it kind of was treated well. We treated our chickens well. It probably got chicken parm, which is maybe not well. That's actually probably torturous. I doubt very much we gave it chicken parm.
They received Jeez.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know.
You even said that with conviction. You're like, actually, we treated them very well. We treated them to a nice Italian dinner.
Yeah, no, I was joking with that. But I don't know. I don't know what they ate. I wonder.
Speaking of which, you got to make me that garlic bread again, my friend.
Yeah, that was.
You nailed that.
Yeah.
Mm. Have you ever pictured a head of lettuce screaming as you ate it? I have.
No.
I also think vegetables are going to wage war on us.
They might. They probably already are.
I think that's what the Lord of the Rings is about.
Look at this Google search. Screaming lettuce.
Screaming lettuce.
That's awful. What I do remember.
This has major Little Shop of Horror vibes.
Yeah, it does. There was a show called Kids in the Hall. Kids in the Hall back in the day.
Oh, goodness.
It was like a Canadian sketch show.
We are literally just going to put on the chopping block any viewership under the age of 18 right now.
Yeah.
I like the lettuce in the
look,
cabbage head.
We're not chopping off viewers of 18. We're educating. There he is. So every once in a while, when I eat lettuce, I picture this guy.
What is this? This is from Kids in the Hall?
Yeah, cabbage head.
We must be this for Halloween. It looks like you.
Him?
No, you're like the vest or the
whole
getup.
The jacket and the bow tie.
The swirly whirly gumdrop. Yeah.
Yep.
The Charlie and Chocolate Factory vest.
I don't.
With the loosened bow tie. That's hilarious. A loosened tie gives off, an expression of something specific, but a loosened bow tie, that's when you know a man is unhinged.
Yeah. Yeah, he's drunk for sure, and he probably parties.
Cabbage head. What a simplistic. This was in the United States.
I think Kids in the Hall was from Canada.
Oh, Canada. Okay.
It was.
Yes. I was going to say it can't be the United States because the United States doesn't come up with anything funny.
Yeah. Who was
it's always
from that?
Canada
David
or London?
Foley. David Foley came from Kids in the Hall, I think, and
how old was this person?
The actor?
Yeah, got to be in his 20s, right?
Yeah. Well, it was like an SNL show. It was probably, if I had to guess,
perfection.
You would like it.
Mm-hmm.
I was very young when this show was. I was like a small child. But it was on TV. Once in a while, Comedy Central and stuff, and I would watch it. And I remember this sketch. I don't remember. I would probably like it more now.
Was this along the lines where the end of Little Shop of Horrors was ruined for you? Was this that age, that pivotal age where you were like...
No, I'm going to be clear and say Little Shop of Horrors was ruined for me 2 years ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wait, that was last year we went to see it on Broadway or off Broadway.
But by that time, it had already been ruined during COVID because I watched it.
Oh, yeah, we watched it. Okay.
Yeah. Ming might remember this. I don't know.
Alternate ending.
I'm not sure, Ming, if you remember we
saw it. We saw the original
movie
cast.
of Little Shop of Horrors. Have you ever seen that?
I never. Excuse me, I never saw it.
Oh, okay. Rick Moranis
is
in it. John Candy's in it. It's a great movie, and on HBO, it would show, and it had a happy ending.
Or the real ending, which is the musical.
Oh.
And Rich lost his shit. Whereas
literally.
I did, as a kid, I saw both endings. And I do remember in film, like on TV. So when I did the musical in college, what was I in? No, I choreographed it. When all my friends did Little Shop and we did the musical theater ending, it was of no shock to me. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, somewhere in my body chemistry, I was like, this is Little Shop of Horrors, no duh. Mm-hmm. But then when you were like, I remember that night that we watched it, you wouldn't shut up about how ruined your life was.
You have to understand
that you went from the happy ending to the originally written ending. And what is happy? What is sad?
Well, this is a pretty clear cut between happy and sad endings.
I think it's
here,
just a perfect revenge story from eating all these cabbages.
Yeah, well, I think it's a great commentary on humans.
Right.
But I think, like, you got to understand,
it's your favorite musical, too.
It's one of them for sure. And here's the thing. My only exposure to it was this film. I had never seen it on stage before. So, like, think of this. I knew the film word for word.
Nerd!
No, but you have to consider, I never had it on VHS or DVD or anything.
That's incredible.
So, like, that's how many times I saw it.
Yes.
When it would air on HBO, like every time it was on, I would watch it. So that's consider that how many
you have a talent for memorization.
I do tend to memorize movies start to finish.
I choose to forget a lot of things. You just automatically remember everything.
I lock into scripts like that.
Yeah,
I love them. You know, I mean, I think that's why I gravitate toward impressions and stuff. If anything, I gravitate toward you to help you remember scripts and words and things like that.
Remember that time I did a musical in New York?
Oh, man,
They said, all right, well, I know you're not auditioning for this role, the role that I showed up to audition for. We have a little something else in mind because they said we don't know how to cast you because we could cast you for multiple things. And I'm like, yeah, that's been the story of my life. And then I wind up getting like nothing. But they actually cast me as a swing for a musical that was already happening.
Yeah. It was already on stage.
They said, she's leaving in 2 weeks.
Oh, my God.
And I played, I had to
Broadway.
memorize a whole script in 2 weeks.
My
and
God,
how
man.
many days did I cry? Like cry legit wailing tears to you.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm never going to get this.
Yeah, no, I would have been petrified.
And you were helping me a ton.
I would have been petrified, man.
Yeah.
That is like.
Now, imagine if the ending also changed.
Oh, yeah,
you
right?
would have been inconsolable.
Inconsolable. Yeah. And it's funny, too, because I mean, I'm the kind of guy who does like to do the tightrope walk live. Like, I don't like to be over-rehearsed.
If it's my own show, like, you write your own shows.
Yeah.
And stuff. Gimme.
But, man, I was stressed out.
But it was someone else's show, and I'm like, I'm going to fuck this up.
Yeah. I mean, I was stressed out for you, you know, because first of all, it was off Broadway.
I think I improvised some of those lines for sure. I just knew my character.
Does that happen? Does that happen on the big stage, you suppose?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you forget it, like, verbatim, oftentimes if you just drop your line fully, like by accident you skip to something else that isn't, that's why you should know, well, because it's so rehearsed, you often know your scene partner's lines
like
as well.
Like a lyric to a song.
So you could be like, goodness, it's quiet today. Like if you dropped your line, like, I've been waiting for a call.
You're hinting.
I go, my goodness, it's quiet today. And then you pick up and you go, it is so quiet. And I have been looking forward to Henry's phone call all day. That way it seamlessly goes to like, the audience, unless they know the show, will never know because it'll just appear as if two people are talking about how quiet it is in the living room today.
Got it.
No one's called, no one, no one's rung the doorbell or whatever.
You got to be pretty good to do that, I'd imagine.
No, you just got to be rehearsed.
I guess you have to know the dialogue.
That's
not
it.
just your own lines, but
Yeah,
the
you
dialogue.
just have to know
like,
your
what's
why.
this conversation about?
Exactly. And like to even have to recall your line that like Henry hasn't visited in forever, you have to know that the character has been missing Henry. So
Got
what
it.
could we say along the lines of, well, if they've been missing Henry, it's probably been a quiet house for a few weeks.
Got it.
Whoever Henry is. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
making up
yeah,
this
yeah.
character.
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the gist. You'd be, man, with the way that you acted Guillermo on Saturday night, goodness gracious.
I think that's my
am
favorite costume to date.
waiting for your Halloween debut. I think you should also be Seymour or the plant.
I would.
A little shot.
That would be a dream.
Yeah, you could be Cabbage Head, and then you'll be that on Broadway. So Rich wanted me to be Nandor, which, as far as typecasting, would have nailed it. I just did not have the time to buy a cape as legit as Nandor from
Yeah.
We in the Shadow, or What We Do in the Shadows. It would have
Yeah.
been perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I think it was a
And I
nice.
just
It was
go,
a good costume.
Fucking guy.
Fucking guy.
Fucking guy. Like
Yeah,
that
you
would
throw a
have
little
been fun.
bun up there, and
Bun like this.
oh, that'd been great. Just a dark
Yeah.
beard on you. It would have
Yeah.
been so good.
I can definitely look like a dude. For sure.
You do still have a
Well, you
hand
look
drawn
like a witch.
tattoo on your forearm from
this
Halloween.
Yeah, that was a dare from
Yeah.
someone else. Actually, I got roped into that.
Yeah. But so happy Halloween.
Happy
it's
Halloween.
officially Halloween today.
Yeah,
I'm happy and grateful now that we are heading into the season of gratitude, which should be a year
Yes.
a daily thing.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that we had a chance to celebrate Halloween together.
yeah.
Oftentimes we're working.
I know.
Oftentimes we're entertaining other people so that they can celebrate Halloween.
Exactly.
Which is lovely.
Yeah,
But it was nice to take some time for ourselves and
It
see
was-
our friends and
yeah,
and have some fun with that.
yeah. I feel freer this season as a musician and a actor or whatever. You guys know that you do have to drop a lot of things for your work
Mm-hmm.
at random things like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't go. You have to get used to, but you never get used to. And then hopefully on your spiritual journey, you kind of circle back around as to what is your world and the necessity of your family and your friends and those who are close to you. But you do have to say no to birthday parties. You do have to say no to your friends' Halloween parties for a Halloween party that you have to book. And I don't like to say like, or else you don't work, because you can pick and choose your schedule if you maturely go through choosing the kind of performer you want to be for the rest of your life. But it has proven very challenging.
It's a timing
for the
thing.
past, just
Your contracts
learning.
are far out in the future.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you can't necessarily cancel a contract
Yeah.
because
just-
someone,
yes.
wants to throw a birthday party.
Which requires you to then say to yourself, you do have to look in the future and you have to say, let's just say, do I care? Some people don't give a shit about Halloween. They're like, no, let's book up that weekend. Give me all the Halloween parties. Like, let's rake in the bucks.
Yeah.
But you have to, as a performer, it's really important for yourself. You are important.
Mm-hmm.
Do not think that your art is more important than you, because without you, then your art doesn't happen. I think I actually struggled with that for years of choosing like the gig over me. But then I suffered. Let's just say Halloween has been my favorite holiday since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while as a performer in my, career years, I would kind of like felt like cool shit. Like, look at me performing on Halloween. Or I'm like, look, this is so cool. Like these elaborate Halloween parties that we would entertain.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just like an original music gig. Like I'm playing my
like a
songs
concert that you put on,
in like Rockwood Music Hall or something, anywhere. And I'm like, ooh, it's Halloween. But then you're like, pieces of you or pieces of me kind of like just missed being at home or missed being at a homegrown Halloween party instead of like this curated freaking event, or like it had to be the music. I even used to, and who knows, I might do this in the future, but like, oh, it's my birthday. Let me have a birthday show. That's very popular and was very popular with me. But I'm like, you know what I'm missing is prioritizing the love first, and then being able to come back to a calm state of enjoyment with these these really fun, beautiful weekends that remind you of childhood and, remind you of your dad and your mom and Joanne Fabrics, good old Joanne.
And that you're not just not just an artist. You're also
a
person.
A person. Exactly. Which has a lot to do with, for me at least, is COVID, the quiet times during COVID, actually, because we did a lot of inner work, made me realize how much of my identity was tied to artist. Cat, artist.
Yeah.
That literally got tattered like a tiger just came in and slashed that with its claws. And I am so grateful that it did.
Yeah.
It is taking me, the gestation period of this new seed within me is taking a little bit of a slow ramp upward, like a baby. A baby doesn't go, I'm born, here I am. And it's like all of a sudden it's a teenager. It's not. I am taking it day by day as far as like this, not new identity, but a recollection of who I am, which is me. And it's funny how this can be all tied to feeling at one with Halloween weekend this weekend. Even though you worked. We worked on Friday.
We had. Well, I
and
worked.
You worked
I
Thursday.
had two big events.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Back and forth, but it was something different this year.
Yeah. Well, I think we took time for ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. You bring up COVID because we were having a conversation last night, and I'd actually like to ask you about it. Today a little bit.
Sure.
With this topic of kind of historically.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're not the only artists who are like this. Historically believing that it's the art that fuels your life instead of your life which fuels your art.
Yeah.
Have you found?
Okay.
Because I know we're shifting big. You and I, like since COVID.
Every freaking day is
we're
different.
Shifting big.
This answer might be different.
Of course. It's but I like to know your perspective on this today. Do you think as a professional performer, a professional artist, whatever that might be, you are multiple arts.
Yeah.
You are acting, theater, comedy, music, film, right? So, and I am, stage and music, and composition and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you find that being a professional in that industry, is it a challenge for you to have a personal life? Do you find it challenging how does being a professional artist impact your life relationships?
It is individual. It's personal. I think, I don't know. I actually, that is such a hard question because you said impacts, and I don't know whether to color that merry or color it dull. And I think it's done something very interesting because being a performer, I am often inviting people to my performances, which, I am getting emotional because I remember working, we were doing regular duo work last year. We've always done regular duo work, but it provides such a really awesome experience for the whole family to come out.
Yeah.
And I think I think there had been times where it was so frequent that I'm like, you're on stage and you're seeing your family talk at the table and everybody came out, but you don't get to talk to them. You're not even entertaining them. They're entertained by you, but they feel like you're in the room too. But at the end of the night, when everybody goes home, you're like, I didn't freaking talk to anyone because I was on stage the whole time. And that can become a feedback loop if gratitude goes, all right, bye, you're going to fixate on that shitty part where you didn't get to talk to your family. Yeah, I'm going to fixate on the shitty part where I didn't get to talk to my family. No, not no. You can feel a little, you can, like, I have, like, texted my family or called my family the next day and be like, thank you for coming out. I would say, like, I'm sorry I didn't get to really talk to you that evening. I've said that many a time. And then there's also been gigs where we get long breaks and we get to talk to them as well. And I think where it's affected me most, like in a dull way, has been my own undoing.
Okay.
I do think it was something which coming from like either an inferiority thing or a second guessing thing. Time is running out. I am scared of death. Like, look at all these opportunities to hang out with my family. We're together, but I'm on stage, always
arm's
5
length away.
arms length
Yeah.
away from them.
Yeah.
Ungrateful, instead of just being like, how beautiful. And it's not even a compared to other people. You're like, well, you should be grateful, Kat, because not everybody else gets to hang with their family. It has nothing to do with anyone else. I think the times where I brought myself down, as far as like, even when my family wasn't present for my shows, I think that was my own undoing. And just gratitude just slipped out the door because I let it. And then it's a feed. What's left when gratitude's gone? What's left is a bunch of second guessing, me attaching my identity to things outside my body. So I need my external environment to justify my existence to begin with. So if my external environment is a little bit shaky, I'm shaky inside. So I make it seem, if there's any, like, let's just say like a venue is being a nag, or like a venue sucks, or like a booker is being a shitbag, then I'm like, yep, that's my life. That's the fucking life I chose. And then I tell this really shitty narrative in my head about me, about my choices. Right. Instead of being like, no, I have this under control. I'm so grateful my family is around, and I happen to be working tonight, let's just say. But yeah, it used to be when my family could not be at a show, like we do so many private events, I would be like, oh, here I'm missing out on something else. Like, this isn't going to happen again. I don't think I've ever missed out on like crazy life events, because I would fucking cancel that shit. Like, I'm sorry. And especially now.
Sometimes you can't, though, but yeah.
Sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Well,
At the risk of getting sued or something like that, you know?
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Mm-hmm. And that's part of what you pay for with entertainment. I don't know if people realize, because you're entertaining their party in the private sector, you have to, you're paying for an energy exchange, and part of that energy is that the entertainer is yours for that night or that day. Exclusively yours.
Getting
a
piece of my life for you that day.
Right. And what it often means is that even if a crazy life event happens, you know, you still like bought their soul for that night.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I imagine like other companies might have, if a tragedy happens with higher or like corporation companies. I don't know. Maybe I would hope they would excuse like an employee, like, oh, you're going through it right now. Like, please take a personal day, kind of thing. I don't know. Did that answer your question? You said, how has it affected you to be an entertainer in a climate of like making decisions for yourself?
Well, I think it did. I think it answered the question. The question that I was curious was, how do you think being a professional entertainer has impacted your relationships?
In your life. So yeah. Yeah. Well, that, I guess what I said kind of was a relationship with myself and my own choices, as well as my relationships toward, just gratitude toward other people as a whole, individual. Impacted my relationship with you, this choice of being an entertainer. I mean, we met in a band, so, and now we're married, so that's kind of good. That's impacted it quite well, but at the same rate, like, we challenge each other all the freaking time. And I remember you were working like a lot. I was working on a different schedule. Thank God we have been in the same bands for a lot of our time together, but it's rough because you don't get that, like, wake up in the morning, have your coffee, spend the day apart from each other like a 9-to-5er's job, and then at night, like, we wind down together. Well, COVID changed that. We were we were together all the time, but we are. But then, you know what it gave me? A really good appreciation for what we do have often, which is we have our days together. Yeah. And then we don't have our nights
which is
together
uncommon.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
Now, though, we're pretty good because we're We do everything.
Yeah.
We do everything together, baby.
I would say I think we're together almost 24 hours a day most of the time.
Yes.
And that includes even work days because we work together.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are philosophizing, chatting, deliberating all day long.
And then congealing all of that energy and performing together publicly.
Yeah.
You know, which is a very unique relationship. Most people would go crazy with that kind of thing, but I think it's brought us closer together.
Yeah, so just for perspective, we met in a band, so singing and your keyboards. So we've been in that band that we met in. We've been in an entertainment band, and I've been in your band as a backup singer for your music, and you have been my producer, composer, singer for my music. You have been my accompanist for my musical improv, and what else have we done together? I don't know. That's 5 big things.
Yeah, it's
4,
a lot
5,
of stuff.
6.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
A lot of
We've been on
things.
stage together a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
lot.
Which is super cool. I remember, we don't get it too much now, but it's like people used to be like, wow, it must be hard to like perform with your, like, is that hard? Like to perform with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your spouse or whatever? And I'm like, no,
Yeah, no.
absolutely not. We met each other. That's why I like musical theater, because you make your friends really quickly, because you get to talk to each other very sternly, quickly, and but you know it's infused with love, and it's so much trust, so immediate. And you're like, oh my God, like it's trust falls. It's trust falls so quickly, and that's how I knew. Like, we met in a professional environment. Like, ooh, I like his professionalism. And I don't know if you thought that about me, but we just got shit done.
And
we're
it's
like,
for the
oh,
greater
wow.
good.
And that's like a vulnerability of being like, trust me, I trust you. Got it? Cool. All right, great. We have nothing more to talk about. Let's
Yeah.
go.
And it's an
3, 2, 1, go.
interesting work dynamic, working with your spouse as an entertainer, because the mission is compassionate, because it's not about me and you.
No.
It's about putting our kind of selves to the side
Right?
to serve someone else.
Yeah.
And achieve this common mission, which is to either first and foremost, put on a great show.
Yeah.
And that common why you're putting on a great show. You're putting on a great show,
Yeah.
not so that your own head can get inflated, but so that people can enjoy it and you can elevate their lives together.
And something that I love, and I'll speak in hyperbole, I don't want people to get the wrong idea here, but I'm okay. I love this, but I'm okay like yelling at each other on stage for things like next song, you know, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
People would be like, "Whoa, God,
in the
are you
foxhole, man."
like don't like are you sensitive like whatever like yeah, you're right exactly. Well, yeah.
I mean, literally,
But
you
like
are.
it's quick and it's not personal, and
It's
that's
not
what I love
personal.
about theater is like it's not personal. Don't fuck this
Don't
up.
fuck it up, and it's high stakes,
It's
right?
high
Because there's
stakes, yeah.
expectations,
Yeah.
not only the expectations you set for yourself,
Yeah.
but also the expectation of the viewer.
Yeah.
You know, and oftentimes
Yeah.
the people whose money is kind of behind, you know, your
Yeah.
you know, depending on the event that
You
you're
always want
throwing
to
or
put on a
whatever.
good show.
Always, free or otherwise. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, if we rented a theater out for
Yeah.
10 grand and sold tickets, it's like these people paid to be sitting in these seats right
Yeah.
now. It's their money.
Yeah.
And their money lined up against what I'm going to deliver for them. So
Yeah.
it's like an added kind of pressure. So yeah, on stage, when you're in the thick of it,
Yeah. If you
if
can
shit goes down and you're like,
yeah,
no,
if-
come on,
If
you
you
know?
can do that to like
And there's
how
nothing
many times
personal.
that you and I have gone like this to each other? Like let's go,
Yeah.
let's go.
Let's go. Yeah,
But
and
then
it's-
and at the end of the gig, you're like, that was a great gig. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
we
right,
high
I'll see you
five, we
tomorrow.
hug,
Yeah.
we're just like, awesome job.
we
you
don't
killed
even
it.
go to gigs in the same car.
That's interesting. Yeah, we don't. And I have to say, and it's not personal, but I've come to realize
Yeah.
over the years, because I've always had a people pleasing personality as an entertainer,
Yeah.
being so accustomed to putting myself aside. I was pretty bad at setting boundaries for myself for many years and didn't realize that in doing so, I was not respecting myself.
Wow.
And it's not you specifically, but
Yeah. You need your
I
little
need
your little cavern of
I need that pre-roll. You know, I need that quiet car.
your little green room.
I need my own little green room before the bomb goes off, because
Yeah.
from the second you park that car at that venue, it's
Green
like
room.
I need my green room. Yes. And I've only recently come to realize that. And I still have a little guilt behind that. You know, recently we had a miscommunication where you had said, we'll go together.
Yeah, it was
and
a further away show.
Yeah, it was a bit of a drive, hour and a half
Yeah.
or something like that. And
I was like, I'll leave. Yeah,
you said,
we'll leave at the same time.
I'll leave with you.
Yeah.
And I interpreted that as like,
Just the same
we'll
time.
get in our
Yeah.
cars at the same time and
Right,
go, but
yeah.
that's not what you meant. And I felt guilty.
A little guilty.
Kind of like saying, you know, so I'm
Yeah.
like, now I'm hustling to kind of backpedal and go, well, let's just put everything in the van. Come on, I'll take it. I'll
Right.
take things out of your car, put them in the van. And then
And
we
I'm
had
just
this
like,
whole stressful,
stop.
this stressful minute,
I'm like,
you know,
I'll take right.
before leaving the house. And,
I-
you're just like, it's fine.
I think I just said the next time, which hopefully there will be a next time that we do 1,000 gigs together.
Yeah.
Like, we'll go together next time. And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's okay. We always go in separate cars.
Yeah, but it is funny.
Paul wishes that we went in the same car.
Oh, only for entertainment
if
value.
you want a podcast,
Yeah.
hang a microphone
Yeah.
in the van
Yeah.
on the way to a gig in Atlantic City
Yeah.
with Paul in the back. Because you
Ming
need
and
to
Paul
have
in the back seat,
right? Just
filming,
somewhat
recording,
silent,
and us
but
just bickering for an
going,
hour and 45
interject.
minutes.
I think what Paul's our bass player. I think he would just kind of. Well, he said that
He would just lob a
he just
grenade
go-
into the front seat
Yeah,
and
he's
watch
like,
us squirm.
Here's a topic that I know Kat and Rich will disagree on.
Or just that
But we were fine.
They're both going to have strong opinions
Strong
about this. I
opinions,
can't wait
yeah.
to watch this
exactly.
unfold.
But I never took it personally against
it's
you. I was like,
fun.
here's something to yell about.
Yeah.
Which is great because then you blow your voice out prior to the gig.
I know. For 2 hours, you're like getting yourself worked up.
What I've realized, it's awful. Talk about this. This is going to be a problem when we, when we get, I don't know what I'm saying, but here, I'm so excited right now because it's so funny to me to say that what I've realized increasingly so is that when I am with our group of friends rather, prior to a gig, I lose my voice because they're all a bunch of improv comedians and
It's just high energy
I am
talking.
the way I laugh
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
it sounds awful. It probably sounds a lot like your mom's scream when she saw the bloody kitchen
Probably,
on
yeah.
Halloween.
Probably close to that.
I laugh like that,
Yeah.
and I know because I know like if you're drinking, it also inflames your vocal cords and everything. No drinking, no nothing, and my voice. I'm like I can't get my high resonance at
Yeah.
all because my voice is so from laughing.
And that's part of the reason why I do enjoy driving to shows alone, because when
Yeah.
we're together in the car,
Yeah, we're just
oftentimes
talking.
we're
Yeah.
just like this.
Yeah.
We're just nonstop back and forth, just ping-ponging ideas and thoughts
Yeah.
around. And, for those of you listening who happen to be either voice actors or singers or otherwise, you know that talking does more damage to your voice than singing.
Yes.
If you're singing properly, that is.
Yeah.
I can sing 4 hours straight.
Yes.
And come off the show and be like, doo-doo-doo.
Same.
Talking, my voice will be tired after this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I'm not even talking at a high volume.
No.
So oftentimes after shows, you try to, especially if you're like, you come off stage and then the background music comes on and it's super loud
Oh,
and
my
everybody's like,
God.
you were great tonight, man. You're like, thanks, man. And you're
Yeah.
like yelling at each other. That's the part that
Yeah.
really blows you. It shreds
Yeah.
you.
I'll often say like I might not be able to go out to your comedy show tonight
Yeah.
because I have a gig tomorrow.
I know.
Because I know I'm going to be laughing, and who wants to be the person in the audience chair at a
Restraining yourself.
comedian going like this?
Yeah. Ha, ha, ha.
He golf clap.
But so that was the point of my question, actually, was a lot of the trappings
Yeah.
of being a professional artist
yeah.
oftentimes impede on your social life.
Yeah. I guess,
Someone asked me-
now that you put it that way.
Someone
yeah.
asked me, as an impressionist, my regimen
Yeah.
is kind of, it's unconventional.
Yeah.
To get my voice ready for a show. It's not always, no. It's not
Right.
always things like that.
Do an ice bath.
Well, I do steam. I take a very hot shower before a show.
Yeah. That's where all the hot water went.
Well, listen.
I never have a problem.
But there's things. You kind of have to live a straight and narrow life.
For real though.
You can't drink, you can't smoke. You have to kind of time out your fun time.
Yeah.
So that the thing that keeps the lights on in the house goes well.
We do, at least.
We do.
A lot of people don't. I'm always like, why can artists do all these
well, I think
illegal drugs?
Yeah, I think there are art forms.
And we're like, sip your echinacea.
Yeah, well, I think that I think that there's styles of music.
Yeah.
That don't require
vocal cords.
They don't require a ton of nuance behind what they do. Like
Perhaps,
you can kind of not that it's easy to do.
Nope.
But you just don't need like a professional figure skater.
Indeed.
Needs nuance that probably like a professional football player might not need.
Right.
Not to say that they don't require nuance.
Indeed.
Both of those things you have to be elite.
It's just different. And it's your choice. Like you're the type of singing that you have chosen.
Exactly.
And the type of things you want to achieve during a performance.
Correct.
Has been your choice and your choice alone.
I think one of the hardest decisions with my career that I've ever made was to choose a career where I have chosen to not sing like myself. I'm choosing to do what doesn't come naturally. So, for example, on Thursday, I had a really big show.
Yeah.
And I had to do rapid fire musical impressions for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, 15 minutes in felt like 3 hours.
Absolutely.
It felt like 3 hours of singing because you're going from one vocal characteristic to a completely different one, to a completely different one. And you have to do it well.
Yeah, if someone asked me to sing Applause by Lady Gaga with that performance and then go straight to a Jewel song, I would probably break my neck.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
My head would, headless horseman situation.
It would be the equivalent of being on, a compound in football, sprinting the 100-meter dash, tackling a tackling dummy, and then doing a plie and this and that, and it's just you're forcing your body to do these unnatural
front
things.
arabesque, back arabesque.
Yeah, you're forcing your body to kind of change styles. And all those styles require different fundamentals.
And all it does require is having. I don't like saying no fun for you because alcohol is not necessarily in my fun category. It's just a beverage that sometimes
and
happens.
So one of the subtext plots.
But we definitely don't. We do not indulge.
Yeah, no, and I think one of the
A beer a month, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe once a month we'll go ahead and have some drinks. But and that's sort of a subplot to the question. That I asked you.
I want you to answer it.
I'm happy to.
Because mine, I just end up in tears every time I
I think it does
answer your question.
No, I think it does lead to tears. I think there is a hard balance between your love for your passion for what you do and your social responsibilities in life and your desire to be close to people and be part of a tribe. Oftentimes,
you're on the outskirts.
Partying, loud drinking, it is fun.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think we can also agree universally, you are abusing your body.
Yes.
In doing so.
Inflammatory station.
Yeah. And so once you become hypervigilant.
Oh, we are total.
To what's required of yourself.
Yeah.
And also, I'm just going to go on record and say, we don't get sick days.
No, absolutely
if you have an office job.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink tonight.
We know how to sing through laryngitis.
You
have excellent placement.
Yeah, there's things you have to come up with. It's like, well, what if you lose your voice? And you're like, well, I still have to do the show.
It's time to do Mariah Carey whistle tone. Then.
Yeah, something, But so I do think that there's a hard balance, and you have to make hard decisions, and not only based on your availability, because you might be booked.
Totally.
You might be locked into a contract, which you're not legally allowed to pull to go to your cousin's wedding.
Correct.
And the cousin may or may not be sensitive to that. For me, the way it's impacted my relationship with people from a psychologically battering standpoint
Yeah.
is having been a professional entertainer for the better part of 25 years,
Yeah.
people just assume I'm busy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the phone won't ring.
It won't ring.
You know, you'll find out that so-and-so had a get-together and maybe you didn't hear about it. And they're like, hey, like, I just kind of thought you were busy that weekend. And you're like, well, I was working, but it would have also been nice, you know. And I think people don't like hearing the word no, even though they understand your reason for not being there. I don't think they hate you for it.
I agree.
I think they're just kind of like, if I was a traveling salesman, Rich travels a lot, so like let's not bother him, or let's not make Rich feel guilty for saying
I was
no.
going to say, I think it's equivalent. The two are equivalent. I think people don't like hearing no because it reminds them how, and again, it's all how they paint the narrative too. They also have the option to paint gratitude that you are doing what you love, and also that you can make your own choices. That's something to be grateful for. So, or that they even have you in their lives. Like
Sure.
I have to often remind myself of that about people when I don't get to see them often. Like, how grateful am I that I just even have
That I even know you.
cousins or that I even know them. You know, my family lives all over the country. So yes, I think the first thing you said is quite valid. They don't want to hear no, but they also don't want to have to make you say no.
Exactly.
Which brings me, not a topic hop at all, but just brings me to it's not. This is a good topic for anyone, I think, is prioritize what your task is. It is not my task to make you, as an adult, feel comfortable. Certainly not with my narrative. Let's just say like, oh, well, if I had to say no to my family 10 times a year about invites, barbecues, and birthdays, I would feel terrible. Well, maybe Rich doesn't feel terrible. Maybe he just gets giddy getting invited. And that's the thing that we rob each other of, is the presumption that it's a sad thing to say no. No. That invite is the invite alone. Fuck the party. The invite is the offering of love, right? I mean, you know.
I think oftentimes, I agree with you. And I think oftentimes, you know, if a family member reaches out and they're inviting you to a barbecue or something like that, we, you know, just saying no,
Yeah.
it does feel bad
Yes.
saying no.
It feels like love in a different light.
Yeah. Well, it's, and it's, even though you're not choosing the thing over them.
No, right, yeah.
I think what you tend to do is you kind of line up how oftentimes
Yeah.
you're already obligated to a thing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of assume the other person may not understand that. And you're like,
And that's also
oh,
not fair.
It's not fair.
About not
because you're trying to protect their feelings. They're trying to protect
Everybody's
your feelings.
protecting
And
each
we all
other.
care about
the
each other.
intentions are good.
Yeah, it's all well-meaning.
I wonder, flight attendants probably feel the same way because they're off. They're like gone.
Yeah, how do you,
Gone.
you can't just like,
Yeah.
you know, oh, I'm actually going to be like in Hawaii next weekend. There's no way I can get
There's
back
no
to your
way-
party in
exactly.
Connecticut.
And they schedule that shit, you know. It's
Yeah.
like a tour. It
It is like a tour,
Any
yeah.
touring kind of person
Exactly.
is that
Yeah.
way.
And it's complicated, you know, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I am getting better with it.
Good.
So like I'm getting better with recognizing the fact that although yes, the clock eternally ticks,
Yeah.
unwaveringly,
Yeah.
unforgivingly. Although the seconds go by and the years go by and the months go by, I think the more juice you can squeeze out of the present,
Yeah.
the less bad you feel when someone calls you and you go, oh shit, dude, I
Yes.
wish I could, but I'm actually booked.
And the more mature your communication style, the more comfortable you are in that present now, the more you realize that that all you need is the now. And then you're like, oh, well, let me do some of the work here. Your communication style becomes matured and you get to, if you need to tell someone this, say, hey, I would like the invite next time. And they go, got it. Check. No
exactly.
problem. I can do that.
Exactly.
If that makes you feel good, like
Yeah.
I think as adults, we often revert to the child that waits to be allowed to do something. Whereas as an adult, it's our kind of responsibility to tell people what we need.
Mm-hmm.
We have that, well, depending on how silenced you were as a child, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think it all comes down to, as you said, a more mature communication.
Yeah.
Having been independent, heading toward, a full decade here.
Yeah.
Running my own company and my own business and dealing directly, generating all the business myself.
Yeah.
You get very accustomed to not apologizing.
Yeah.
Because even though it feels like you're being polite, if someone says, "Hey, I'm throwing a huge event and I want you to be the centerpiece of this event," and even if you want to give them their courtesy by saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or "Unfortunately, I have a booking that night." Even in saying "unfortunately," you have told yourself that you're not happy with the choice that you made and the thing that you're already doing, which, by the way, this didn't exist yet.
And you're totally right. And apologize. The apologizing language, the words that you choose, is such a colloquialism. Like that's just language we bat around. It would be better to the self and to the recipient if you said, "I wish I could be there.
I would love to.
I would have loved to.
I always say
but
that.
I can't.
Exactly.
I would love to." That's much different than going,
"Thank you for thinking of me. I would have loved
You're right.
to be a part of this day."
Yeah.
But I already have a prior commitment.
Way better than going, "I'm sorry I chose this as my career. I know everybody hates me, and I won't be attending your birthday party. Sorry."
And you're also
and I hate myself.
and you're also coloring the
Yeah.
way they're going to feel, because
Absolutely.
you're saying, "Hey,
yeah.
regrettably," I mean, I don't care. You can pick the fanciest word out of Webster's dictionary.
Put it on the chopping
You're
block.
basically
Yucky,
saying,
yuck.
you're basically
Yuck.
saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
too bad for you."
Oh, too bad for you, but also too bad for. Well, yeah, you're right. With regrettably,
I don't think I meant it like that. I think I meant it more like just by simply coloring it with
this sucks.
misfortune,
Right, misfortune. This sucks. Yeah.
sorry, regret.
Yeah.
Words
Yeah,
like that.
my God,
you are
that's
allowing
so
that.
deep.
You're now allowing that person
To go, oh,
to be disappointed.
and to feel bad for you too.
Yeah, I think in a way
Like they hang up and they go, "Man, Rich
damn.
seemed really disappointed. I'm never
Yeah.
going to make him feel that way again,"
I
or whatever.
I think if you do it enough to the same person, and I've experienced this, I
try
think
to take
if,
the onus, like, "Oh, maybe it was me." Who,
Yeah.
You've
You're almost like
experienced it, yeah.
almost like taking the I don't have a better word for it right now, but you're kind of taking the blame for the reason that
I get
this
it,
isn't
yeah.
working out. And I think if you do that for years,
Yeah.
over and over
it
and
becomes
over,
old hat.
it becomes real.
Yeah.
And you say, "It is my
It
fucking
is-
fault
Exactly. And
that I haven't
Yep.
seen my
Yep.
good friend
Yep.
in, a year."
And then, yeah. Oh, they could go on for a million years too, because
You
you're
know?
like, was it even worth it? Like, was choosing the arts even worth it? And
Exactly.
meanwhile, you could have had the arts, or being a flight attendant, and your family, the
Right.
gratitude of your family, the whole time.
Totally.
You
Totally.
freaking idiot.
Yeah. Well, it's and I think one of the big
It's
parts
practice.
of this podcast,
Yeah.
it is practice, and I think one of the big aspects that I'm sure we're going to continue to harp on through the
Yeah.
course of this podcast
Yep.
is life as an artist. The balance beam that you walk
Yeah.
between trying to find that common middle ground between art and life.
Yeah.
Not only from a creative standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, the way you live.
Yeah.
Is it art first or is it life first? How does it work?
Right.
And I think the answer is
Not black and white.
Yeah, I think exactly.
It's-
I think the answer is just
At the
yes.
Yes. The answer is the quantum field, my friends. Everything's happening at the same time. So
Yep.
why don't you freaking, exist now?
Yeah.
And that's great.
And it's hard for everybody. I think that is if someone were to ask, what the meaning of life is, I would just say life is now. That's
Yeah.
it. It's the meaning of life is meaningless. It's
right. Yeah. It doesn't
first of
mean
all,
anything.
it doesn't mean anything.
No.
It means what you make
Yeah.
it mean.
Yeah.
And so feel it now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you'll be okay. You know?
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween to you.
This is good enough time to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we can start our initial descent here.
Beep.